I think that means we're live. We're live. It is the Martin Fowler Scrum. It is a Monday. Raul, Piotr, and myself are here. I will just overview. I've just been AV102ing and responding to. We had an assignment over the weekend for students to pick out they're starting on various technical components, but also to pick out and review the best instructional scaffolding questions from last week's assignment. So we had a nice chat going on there in AV102, and I've been responding to some of the students there. On AV102, yes, I'm a bit sick of it, but it's one more week of transcribing components, and that's going to be my focus this week, but then that should be just done, and I'll get away from it. Yeah, so other things, website 1, Mike and I didn't manage to coordinate doing the time zone thing on Friday. But we've got a nice new PR from Puneet to review. Haven't looked at that yet. About to start looking at that after this meeting. Local support. I've got lots of exciting PRs from new ones from Marwen and Mago, and latest and greatest from Piotr to review. Yeah, and then other big thing this week is I've started a draft of a peer review rubric, which is going to be used in both AV102 and in the new run of the MOOC with people reviewing each other's pairing videos. So the plan to sort of do a live test of that on Friday. That's pretty much me. No insane blocks, just lots of fun things to do. Welcome back, Puneet. Let's go on to Piotr. Hey Piotr, how are things going with you?
So hello. So for now, I finished the 2 tasks that were on me. So about icons, and the other one about friendly ID. Marwen helped also a lot with this rake task instead of migration. So for now I'm free. I can take some other new tasks. In fact, I was also doing your AV102 course on weekend. So
excellent.
I was there as well, and I'm following it. And I hope I will be a TA in next. With the course.
That would be awesome. That would be totally awesome.
And so I am free to fetch some other task from local support pivotal tracker. So I'm open to your suggestions.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe let's have a little review of the board at the end of this session and chat about that. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's go on to Raul. Thanks, Piotr. Raul, how are things with you?
So this weekend I didn't do much aside from pushing and testing some of the stuff we implemented last week to staging. So that seemed to be fine so far, so I'll push them to production later today.
Right, and that's the upgrade to the latest version of Rails and the security fixes and so on, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So other than that, nothing much happened on my side this weekend in terms of Agile Ventures. I was mainly preparing some content for Craft Academy and other stuff. So yeah.
Good show. Thanks, Raul. Puneet, how are things with you?
Okay, I finally was able to establish the audio, so
welcome back.
Fine now. Okay, so yeah, I completed the AF break issue, but I felt that there were some issues that I wanted to address. But let's actually, can we take a look at that issue?
We could take a look at that together. Yes. I guess I was basically just about to review it now. I guess that's pretty much the end of the session. I want to review the stuff for local support with Piotr. Piotr, have you got time to hang out while Puneet and I take a little look at his pull request? Is that?
Yeah, of course. But I can also come back. We can. Back later.
Yeah, I guess I'm also because you've got your network connection is kind of constrained and it's costing you a lot of money. So yeah, I guess I mean, why don't we say I'll take a look at this thing with Puneet now for website 1, and if you want to have it, we did reorder the priority of the board. I tell you the one that's the kind of probably I guess we can, if Puneet will bear with us, I think actually for let's go over here. it won't take more than a couple of sessions to have a quick look at the pivotal tracker board for local support. Oh, I'm quite excited to find that we can get a view like this, where we can see just all of the features and not everything else. But so. Yeah, the things that are now the top priority for the clients, we've got, basically, see these three here. So we've got these two ones which are kind of, they could be argued to be trivial, but they're kind of like search engine optimization, which relate to how if you do a search for Arrow Community Network like this, we get this, you know, like we're the top hit, which is great. And then we get like these subpages, which is great. But the funny thing is that the subpages are not the subpages that we're trying to tell Google to present. Not like, you know, our contact us. And I mean, we get about us in there, but basically like 3 random organizations from our network appear there. And we would like to kind of like somehow tell, like if we do the same thing for Agile Ventures, we get here like, you know, a set of stuff that makes more sense. Maybe there's less visibility, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so we kind of like to get this sort of structure. And similarly, if one was doing a search for Harrow volunteering, we would love to appear higher in the list. So you might say that this is like, you know, search engine optimization and so on is not, you know, it's not programming, so you're not interested in it. Fair enough. If you are interested in it, it's there. If you want something that's a bit more programming oriented, then there's this allow the admin to edit the email contents. I think who was looking at this before? I think Zivko was looking at this before, and he found and actually Marowen, yeah, had a look at it. So that's anyway. Those would all be good things to have a little check of, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so I'll try to see into this Google sub pages. Why not? I'll learn something. So okay, I'll get going with that.
Thank you. Yeah. And Phil, I get it's you know, always have a little look. If you're not interested, move on to the next one. All good.
Okay.
All right. And by the way, I was going to ask you, Piotr, did you actually manage to, when you said you got a lot of help from our end, did you manage to pair with him, or it was just help through the pull request comments, or what have you?
No, I just seen that he got into the pull request and he found the problem and he just solved it. So I just managed to pair with him.
Yeah, I know he's pretty busy. He's got a job. But yeah, good stuff. All right, nice one, excellent. Glad we were able to just sort of deal with that. And I'll be doing transcribing, but I'll be around and online, Piotr. So if you need me, you can get me on Slack. Yeah, good stuff. And I'll be trying to get people.
See you around.
See you around. Yeah, nice one. Thomas came and went, but now so I was going to say hi to Thomas, but he's disappeared. Puneet, yeah, should we have a look at your thing there?
Have a good one, guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers. Is that Raoul nipping off? Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I hadn't looked at this yet, but let's have a look. I'll do my code review live in front of you. So we've got here, this is now the change for the thing here. So we've got these 2 operations, and we basically have we rescue an exception. I guess we might say there, let's rescue. I mean, you can ask, should we rescue specifically the the exception we get?
So there's one thing I suspected here.
Go on.
The thing is, for that particular GitHub URL, not only the update total count for that the first procedure is filling, but if we try to grab that specific thing within begin rescue, the second one will fail using you know, the update using commits count. So yes.
Yep. No, well that's I think having those 2 in there is great. There's just the thing that came into my mind about this was exception. Should we in general we want to rescue the more specific exception rather than the general exception. Although in this case with this long-running job here, to be honest, I would much rather that if we got a new exception, that it didn't derail the entire process. So I think, you know, that looks all good to me. So then we've got the gem now, and yeah, so we started off with a few things like this, and then we see that they update to certain numbers. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say here is ultimately we would. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the presence of the description here is kind of irrelevant to what the scenario is saying. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but I think the step definition, I think,
maybe
required the
it can't
description to
handle
be
it.
mandatory.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe I can see that this is, given that we have a step definition like this, or as it currently stands. I mean, or is it one that you've? Yeah. Okay. So here, I would say, like, you know, that should, we also want that to be like lowercase. That should be right. But so you've created this thing, and so here you're finding an expect project. But yeah, actually no. But looking at this here, looking at the structure of the thing, the description is irrelevant, right? Because the only parts of this that's being referred to are the project title and the project commit count. Yeah.
Right.
So the presence of the description here. So I think we could, you know, could remove description column here. And yeah, just to sort of like try and make it easier for a person looking at this to kind of pull out the, you know, specific information, like the let's see if we've also got there. There's like a URL as well. Yeah, the GitHub URL is. I mean, again here, yeah, actually, and the GitHub URL, isn't it? Like remove description and GitHub URL column here.
I think GitHub URL will be needed, right?
Well, it will certainly be needed here, right? In terms of when it's creating the project, but here, when we're checking for the details, yeah, I think, I mean, again, if it's specifically, if we look at the step that you've created, the only parts of the table data that you can refer to are the project title and the project commit count. So anyway, give it a try and see. And then you've got a spec here. Yeah, it should throw error for incomplete. Yeah, to raise error. And then I think there should be a thing you should be. Is that? You should throw it for incomplete. Okay. So now this, presumably this, like this seems to me like this is now you're moving off from wrapping this problem and starting to solve. So I guess in general, we should avoid raise error without specifics.
Actually, is by default.
Go on.
In that particular GitHub URL, GitHub repo name was raising exception, so I just added extra test so that, and this was the particular URL for which the job is filling and which comes to that particular method for the model project.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, so you're wrapping. No, fair enough.
I mean, the behavior is already there. I'm just adding a test to confirm that.
Right. Okay.
I know it's getting out of the.
No, okay.
Way.
That's not unreasonable to add related additional coverage. But so then my original point stands is that rather than saying that it raises an error, we should say what kind of error it raises. And so in particular, what I think raise error, and then you want to put quotes in there to say, like, you know, like the error message, and check that it's, because what might happen, so at the moment this is checking that an error is raised, but at the moment a specific kind of error is raised, and maybe something in the system would change and cause it to be a different kind of error. This test would still pass, but we wouldn't know that the type of error had changed. So we should generally check for specific errors, and so that's the flip side of generally we should rescue specific errors. But as I said, I think in this case maybe not. Because we probably don't want to derail this long-running task. Cool. And then I saw you had various other comments in here. You're not satisfied. It passes without putting any fix.
Actually, that was some research that I did before finding this particular URL,
Okay.
github.com/UTX.
Okay. Well, I guess you want to. Well, what you're moving on to there is saying, right, that I mean, ultimately, we want maybe a validation on the GitHub URLs that are added to projects, right?
Yes, that would be the ultimate fix. But
Yeah.
I think that will be.
I think absolutely that would be it. Well, so I think you've done exactly the right thing in terms of you're fixing the immediate problem, which is that we update the other ones. And so what we can now, have you added an issue that's related to that, to the validations and so on?
Not yet.
Yeah. So what I would say is that, yeah, I mean, this I think potentially can be merged. I mean, you might want to make these changes that I was suggesting there,
sure.
And just that minimize the case there. Yeah. But yeah, so you can now, just create an issue. And what I would particularly say is, in the comments here, I would be saying, so this highlights an issue that there is no validation on the GitHub URLs for the projects. Link to, here's a new issue that I've opened on that. And then you don't have to be the one to fix that issue, but you've kind of flagged that as being a problem, and either you can work on it in future or someone else can work on it in future. But that's kind of a critical thing, is having identified that there's a particular kind of problem. It's really important in a sort of a team setting to get that in as an issue, because in case you end up having to work on some other stuff, or who knows what happens, we've still got a record in the issues list of that being an issue.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, well, great work on this. I mean, this is going to be a very valuable fix. I hope we can get this into production soon. Yeah, anything else that you wanted to chat about as regards this?
Nope. Right now, I will start looking at backlog and see what can I find.
Okay, sure. Yes. Great stuff. Nice one. All right, Puneet, I'll catch up with you a bit later.
Sure, Sam.
All right.
Thanks for the review.
You're most welcome. Bye for now.